Hello, my name is Georgie Newbery and I'm a flower farmer and florist based here between fashionable Bruton and up-and-coming Wincanton in Somerset in England. And I'm going to take you on a tour of the wildflowers here at Common Farm. The meadows are looking amazing. Fabrizio is coming with us, but he's going to stand behind my shoulder because he's a bit camera shy, and so I expect I'll get things wrong and you'll hear his voice saying, no, that is a something or other orchid. So luckily he's coming with us and he's going to tell us all the right names. So off we go. So just to give you some background, it's a 7-acre patch and it's about half wild and half cultivated. And we're going to start here and we're going to go for about 20 feet, which if you're thinking about growing wildflowers in your own patch, will show you what you can get in 20 feet. So the pink and white over there, the white is a bladder campion, and the pink is a scarlet campion, and you can see where they've interbred and made a pale pink.
Red campion.
Red campion, there you go. In the evening, the light comes through from the back there, and it's very beautiful. Behind them, cow parsley, and then if I come down here, ordinary red clover, but the yellower bright green leaf coming through there, that will be evening primrose, and that is going to be all the way along here. Now walking along, there is a little yellow person. We call that egg and bacon. Fabrizio's pointing on my back. I have to turn around something. Look, who's this, Fabrizio, on the buttercup?
I've forgotten what he's called, but I think he's some sort of soldier beetle.
Look at him, he's of such a beautiful colour, isn't he? So moving on, of course that's a buttercup, you know that's a buttercup. And then this little purple person that we have all the way along here is a mountain cranesbill. And this has just arrived here, we did not plant this. And look, I'll just show you how small it is with my finger for scale. There you are. That is a tiny little mountain cranesbill, and at the end of the day it goes to bed and all its little faces close up. Behind this white umbellifer is a, what is it, Mike? Fabrizio, I can't remember.
That's hogweed.
That's hogweed, but it's not the scary hogweed that you have to tell the police about. This is an ordinary native hogweed. And then down here, just coming, my favourite, fox and cubs, the little orange person. Real treat to have that. And obviously white clover as an underneath. And then what's this? Little tiny person down here.
That's black medic.
Black medic, there you go. Onwards and upwards, and very first of the wild daisies. And we have a whole path of this going all the way up here. And that's quite a lot for a short period of time. Look, if I turn around, you'll see that's literally 20 foot of wild. So you don't need an enormous amount of space if you want to have a little wild patch. So this is the end of that path I was just looking at. And if I come through here, all of this pointy green here will be willow herb. Thank you, Fabrizio. Hawk's moth willow herb, which will be a sway of pale pink and white, which is very, very... Also called codlings and cream. Can you hear him? He can't bear it. And this little white person is very faded lady smock, and this whole area is lady smock in the spring, which is why we call it the lady smock. And you can see the big leaf in here is going to be wild Angelica. Thank you very much. That was a test. I knew it was Angelica. And this lovely, I absolutely love this. Is fantastic in floristry. Wild sorrel.
Also
Look at that.
Red leg.
Also called red leg. Then the leftovers, little tiny white flowers, stitchwort, which sows its way through the grass. And we're going to go all the way up here. So I'm going to switch you off. There's our big patch with the roses and the perennials.
Can I just say something?
You could say
It's funny,
something.
every year I forget all the names. This is the first time I've been out identifying, and we might get some things wrong. And I just want to say this because what's wonderful about wildflowers is that every year you have to relearn all about them again.
You do. This will be cranesbill. These fat heaps here
That's meadow cranesbill.
will be meadow cranesbill, which is a blue flower. I'll show it to you later. This is a bit more in the long grass. This is a cut-leaved cranesbill growing up between the dock. And in the distance, can you see the orange there? That's self-sown Eschscholzia, which you can spell if you've had a couple of shandies, or Californian poppy, which is a real bonus. I originally had that in a bed, but it's just escaped into the long grass. Right, on we go. There we are, the roses protected from the deer. We have heaps of horticultural debris and old logs and things everywhere because they give places for people to live, like hedgehogs, for example. And look, things are escaping everywhere. Here, an allium, purple sensation, growing in the long grass. Next to the goldenrod, which was also planted in the long grass. I don't love it terribly much, but it's great feed. The seed is brilliant for the birds in the winter. So this looks like a wood, but it's not really. It's just a bank of trees that we planted along the edge here when we came here in 2004. A lot of willow, which we were given free by a neighbour. And now an understory of hazel coming up. And all sorts of other people. So occasionally Fabrizio thins this out a little bit and takes out some of the willow. But there are other trees going through. For example, here's a lovely oak. And the height of the willow is encouraging the other trees to grow strong and true.
Lots of English elm.
Lots of elm, which only gets to a certain height, and then of course the Dutch elm beetle gets it. But there's masses of it, so if it ever becomes immune to the beetle, we have loads of elm. Ragged robin. And I should just give Fabrizio the camera and he could do it himself. But he's very shy. Anyway, look at that. Apart from the horrible blue water tanks, that is really very attractive. Onwards and upwards. I'll turn this off and I'll see you in a minute. And this patch is where we call it the bee garden. And it's got a very unsuccessful leaky pond, but the leaky pond is full of life. And as you can see, next to it, the most extraordinary swathe of ragged robin, which Fabrizio propagated from seed and planted around the place in small patches, and it has gone everywhere. It really loves it here. I've never seen it in a swathe like that. It's fantastic. So here is another meadow. About half the land here is kept as wild meadow. It's the nearest we can get to wilding. And look, you have to look close and you find all sorts of things. That's the end of the bugle. It's a really lovely early forage for the bees. Yes, we are not a large estate with full wilding, with large herbivores marching around. But the philosophy behind what we do is very much, if you look after the invertebrates, the rest of the food chain will look after itself. And this is the way that we do it. By making an environment where a lot of invertebrates can happily live, and then a lot of birds and bees and beetles can live on the smaller invertebrates, and so on, until you get the full food chain, ending up with the barn owls. As a design thing, sometimes meadow spaces and gardens looks sort of wild and hairy, and it slightly looks as though you've ignored that patch of garden. But if you mow a path, then everything suddenly looks very meant. And look, orchids in amongst the yellow rattle. Now, this is yellow rattle, and people sow yellow rattle because it predates on the long grass, which means that the flowers can get through and reach the light. So the big strong grasses are beaten down a bit by the existence.
So no yellow rattle, yellow rattle.
Yeah. Do you know what? I really think I should just give the camera to Fabrizio, don't you? But I won't. This is the most established meadow that we've got here. We've been here since 2004 and it is 2021, and it really has been a lot of work through the years, but Fabrizio loves it. And actually, it's really worth it, isn't it? And I'm allowed only to walk on this bit so that I can show you the orchids. And these are the best. The orchids are the best I've ever seen this year. And they run all the way through this meadow, all the way to the top. It's really worth coming to look at them properly, because you get your eye in and you see them. If I just walk along with the camera, then you don't really see them, but they are breathtaking. There were no orchids when we came here in 2004. There were no orchids. This is all just come back. So though we have lost 97% of our wildflower meadows in the UK since the Second World War, it is possible to regenerate them. Do you remember I was talking about the meadow cranespill earlier? The blue? Well, I showed you the big cushions of leaves up the top. Well, this is what it looks like when it comes out. It's a little hardy geranium. Very, very pretty. Very pretty. So there he goes, the man and his great work. I have to say, if you're going to do anything in life to regenerate 3.5 acres of wildflower meadow in Somerset, that's not a bad thing to have achieved. So top marks, Fabrizio, and thank you for sharing it with us. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it interesting. If you're enjoying my sessions on YouTube, please subscribe and click the bell icon and you'll be told when we have a new film coming up. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.